you're fine. It's being recorded. Yes. Also, too, Shaylin, that's fine. Just let me know when you do watch it because I want to connect with you to see like how you feel about it so far, and then also, I gave you guys the quizzes so you can connect the all the things we learned so far. But for those of you who don't know, Shaylin is currently at UF right now. She's in summer school. She's starting her undergraduate career at University of Florida. So kudos
Yeah,
to
shout out to
Shaylin
you.
for
Yeah, go Shaylin.
doing it big right now. And thank you for also making time for Film Club. All right. So I think most of us are on here tonight. We have a few that won't be here. The way today is going to go is Miss L'Oreal is going to lead a discussion for the book that we are currently supposed to be reading called Caste by Isabel Wilkerson. And then immediately after, we're going to do a quick activity. And then we're going to let Miss Taylor give you guys a quick lesson on acting, actors, which is our topic for today. And then after that, she is going to also be the guest speaker and talk about her journey in film. And then we'll close it out with some Q&A and a quick little discussion. But yeah, with that being said, I think Miss L'Oreal can get started for that book. Oh, well, wait. Did everybody read the book? Who read it? Emily, you didn't read?
No.
I know Lila says she read.
See?
I didn't.
I ain't get to read it.
Okay. That's okay. And then Shaylin, your book will be there on Saturday. It's taking a little longer, but I had to change the address, but it'll get to you. But okay. All right, that's okay.
Who has read it? Just one person? Just one person has read it?
And the volunteers.
Just okay. Okay, so because you have not necessarily read it, I'll rephrase some of the questions so maybe it can be applied to your life. So I'll read this beautiful synopsis of the book by Taylor. So Caste, the Origins of Our Discontents is an eye-opening story of people and history and a re-examination of what lies under the surface of ordinary lives and of American life today. Caste is not only about race or class, it is about power, which groups have it and which do not. Isabel Wilkerson explores historical social hierarchies, both here and around the world, and explains how I always get this word mixed up. Perpetuating these rankings dehumanizes vast sections of society. Once we learn the reasons behind the caste and see the often heartbreaking effects, Wilkerson says we can bridge the divides and make way for an inclusive future where we are all equal. So your assignment since Saturday, I know it was like a quick turnover, but about 20 pages of reading was to read up to part 2. So I had 3 questions taken from like the reading guides from the original book Caste and then the young adult revision. So the first question is, well, since many of you didn't read it, let me just think over this and rephrase it a bit. I'll read the first question. So at the beginning of Caste, author Isabel Wilkerson compares American racial hierarchy to a dormant Siberian virus. What are the strengths of this metaphor? How does the comparison help combat the pervasive myth that racism has been eradicated in America? So I will just read a bit of that metaphor so you can kind of understand what I'm asking you. All right, so a thawed out. So I want to say it was according to the book in 2016, in the summer of 2016 in the Siberian tundra, they're laid underneath the ground carcasses, dead animal carcasses, who had a virus. And to eradicate that, they burned it, they buried it, they bleached it, all those things. So it's deep, deep, deep in the ground. And it's been in the ground for decades. So it's been in the ground for decades, and there hasn't been any issue of this virus, filtering into the community. So a thawed out and tainted carcass rose to the surface that summer, 2016. The pathogens awakened, intact and as powerful as it had ever been. The pathogen spores seeped into the grazing land and infected the reindeer and spread to the herders, the people who raised and relied upon them. The anthrax, like the reactivation of the human pathogens of hatred and tribalism in the evolving century, had never died. So, in lay in wait, sleeping until extreme circumstances brought it to the surface and back to life. So, I kind of answered the question there, but if you are a auditory learner, what did it mean? And if you have your book, it's on page 6 and it's the first paragraph. How does the comparison help combat the pervasive myth that racism has been eradicated, just like that virus in the tundra? Any thoughts? Oh, you can just talk. You don't have to raise your hand. I'm sorry, I can't see all the hands. So just I think it was, trying to go back. Shaylin, did you have something to say?
I think just from like what you were saying, like how it was not a parasite, it was
a virus.
The virus. How like the virus came back as strong as ever, even though it was thought to be like long gone. I think that definitely is not, was it an analogy, right? For
metaphor, yeah.
Metaphor for racism, because like even though people like don't believe it's, maybe not don't believe, but like pretend it's not there or just forget about it, like there's lots of times like news stories come out or like things like occur that it's like a reminding everybody's like, no, this is still a prevalent issue. That's kind of what like I gathered from that, where it's like it's still as strong as it was before, it's just different now. That's kind of what I gathered from that.
Thank you. That was really great. Any other thoughts? No? Okay, so any other thoughts in comparison to your daily lives? So Shaylin, and am I saying your name correctly? You got it like right. It's just something that, just like you said, something that seemed to be done and away with is still prevalent, like as in just as bad as it was before, even though maybe a blanket was covered on it, or acts of symbolism of passing policies are, going on. For instance, it is the anniversary of the Civil Rights Act, which in America allowed people, marginalized groups, freedoms, as far as like African Americans, women, disabled, different genders, different sex. And that was only 60 years ago. So people in your lifetime didn't have, rights, as everyone else did. So I guess in your own life, how do you feel about that? That metaphor? Like, do you feel that things are getting better, or things are different, or things are maybe just as worse as it was in 1964 when the Civil Rights Act was passed? And you can just talk, unmute yourself and talk. You don't have to raise your hand. Okay, no thoughts on that? That's okay. Well, just think about it, I guess. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Just to give like another perspective, to answer the question, I think some things have gotten better. but there's still a long way to go in terms of progress compared to the civil rights era compared to now. We've made certain political and societal progress as African Americans, with women and all these different other sectors, but there's definitely still a long way to go with as far as like equality and rights for all of these different groups of people.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. There's been much progress, but definitely still a long way to go. And in this book, Cast, and when you'll see the film Origins, it definitely shows you how like we are, like America is divided into groups, you know, and it can be based on like we don't have a in policy a caste system, but our caste can be through racism. All right, so
And L'Oreal, I was gonna message you, but I was saying because of time, we can wrap it now. But if at the end we have time, I do want to add something to what you said.
yeah,
But I'm just not gonna say it right now because it's probably gonna open up.
go ahead. It can be the last one.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say, like, yes, like Edgar said, it's still prevalent today. But I know in the book, another metaphor that they were talking about was the house. And with the house being the idea that there are things that happened before we ever moved into this house. It's an old house. It's things that are in the system that we didn't personally damage or destroy, but our ancestors did. And now we are dealing with the effects of it. And we are responsible in a sense of fixing it or trying to move forward or rebuild it, or patch it up. So I know we'll get more into that analogy with, you know, throughout the sessions, but I just wanted to bring up that house.
Yeah, I did like that metaphor. The house, the bones of the house.
Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all read the book before y'all watch the movie. It's really great. There's so many metaphors for her to that she's written in there. So I can't wait to see how like that's adapted to film, because the metaphor, she's telling a story of something that's happened. So how they will use that in the film adaptation of like seeing different points of view. So I'm excited for that. Okay, well, thank you for listening and talking and discussing.
Yes, thank you for leading that, L'Oreal. And next week, we are gonna assign you guys more chapters to read. So if you did miss this portion, you will have to make up for that. And you know, we believe in you, and you have 7 days to do it. So I will check in on you guys and see your progress with reading. Okay. All righty, so we can move on to the activity. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to be really brief with the activity so Miss Taylor can give you everything that she knows. But first, I want you guys to think about some of your favorite actors. Think about what makes their performances worth watching. Maybe think about, I want you guys to pick one of these three. Think about a character from a film that you deeply connect with, and what drew you to that character, or think about how you think acting can help you in everyday life. And I'll lead off the pack, and I'll say the way acting helps me in everyday life is, me and Miss Taylor actually just was talking about this, but we're actors and we go through experiences through life, and that helps us become a better actor because we can apply that to things that we'll have to say in a script. So, and even things that we necessarily don't even connect with. So I think one of the things we talked about was what was it? Can I say? I'm not gonna say. But yeah, just the simple idea that acting helps you, or seeing actors, seeing characters come to life, it helps you really connect with other people. And maybe there's something that you're like, you're experiencing a hardship or something, and then maybe that same person is on the screen that's going through that, and it gives you like the tools to navigate that and to overcome it. But that's one of my things. I think, again, you could pick one of the three. We don't have that many of you on today, so I hope that you guys can speak up and answer one of these questions. If not, I'm going to call on you guys, and it will not be Shaylin, because Shaylin always answers. So pick one of these three, guys.
This cricket show is loud. Dang.
It is loud.
I ain't know the crickets is one of the students. Dang, it's
I
crazy. I mean,
see.
I'll go ahead and answer one of them. One of my favorite actresses. I have to say Miss Angela Bassett. I think every one of her performances she kills. It's her cadence, the way she delivers everything, how emotional she get, how invested she gets in her character. I love it. That's all I had to say. Yeah, she's one. I have plenty more, but she was the first that come to my head because St. Pete native one. But hey, yeah, her delivery on everything is amazing.
Yes, thank you. A living legend. All right, Amenity, come on.
One of my favorite actors is Alan Tudyk. He plays in Resident Alien. He's one of my favorite actors because, like, I don't know, he has a really real talent. First of all, he can like shift his personality in such a way where it's like it's like so crazy. Like I feel like he can make himself be anything, you know? And like I really like that about him. He's really funny.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Amenity. That was great. All right, let's do one more, and then I'll let y'all. We'll move forward. So let's go with
Kai, I see you in here. Kai, you don't got no favorite actor, Kai? Come on, actress, nobody?
I feel like I don't really focus on like actors most of the time when I'm watching films. I focus on like writing aspects of it and like the more, behind the scenes stuff. But I find a lot of the time that a lot of my favorite like serious film actors are mainly comedians, and I think that a lot of the time it transfers like Steve Carell. He's a really good serious actor, and he's also very funny.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you like a little diversity. Okay, love to hear it. Love to hear it. Love an answer,
Okay. I think that's great. Thank you, Kai. And I know you're gonna love our sessions with Mrs. Shayla later on in the summer. She's a writer and she's a director and she's a producer and all of that good stuff. But you'll see more behind the scenes with that type of stuff. Okay, so we'll have Miss Taylor start her lesson for today, and let's get started.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna need less crickets though. So this has to be an open dialogue. Feel free to speak up, chime in, ask questions. We're gonna have a Q&A session afterwards, but just so this can be a fun experience, learn about acting.
Woo, Taylor! Woo!
Woo! All right, so what is acting? Simply put, acting is the art of performance. I broke it down into like 3 different sections with 6 total tools. So the first is the tools and techniques that an actor can use. Second is collaboration and contribution. Then we have versatility and vulnerability. All of these things fuel their performance and add authenticity to the film or the production. So for tools and techniques, we have script interpretation and physical and vocal techniques. So script interpretation is going to be how an actor analyzes their script. So this is the dialogue, their stage directions, and the scene descriptions that a writer will provide for them. And this helps them understand their character's role, any relationships that they have, and their motivations. Then next you have the physical and vocal techniques, which is how an actor uses their body and voice to express emotion, convey intention, and bring their characters to life convincingly. So for script interpretation, that's basically when you get a script or a side or a breakdown, especially for auditions, an actor is going to use what the writer provides them to basically form their own understanding of who their character is. And that's why you can have multiple actors audition for the same role or audition for another character, and everyone's going to have a different interpretation of what that character is. There are other like physical and vocal techniques that you can learn either by taking classes, workshops. And my biggest advice is just to fill your toolbox, your toolkit, because what works for one actor might be something different for another. Then we have collaboration and contribution. It takes a team. So actors must be able to work well with not just other actors, but the entire crew to ensure a successful performance. So they must have a good relationship with the director, their scene partner or scene partners, and as well as the off-camera crew. This means hair, makeup, as far as even lighting. When you're on set, you are around everyone, making sure that the production can go smoothly. Also, everyone involved in the production of a film is of equal importance. So we know that Miss Tamaya always says we're going to watch all the credits. Yes, it's long. That means that there's so many people that were working on that production that are of equal importance and they deserve to be recognized. Actors just so happen to be the face that the audience remembers and can, I guess, connect with, but they're just a small part that makes the film happen. And then I added a quote here that says, work begets work. That's something that in my undergrad, my professors and my mentors were able to tell me. And it's something that I can still use. And I think it's also popular in the industry. It basically means that the work that we do today will determine the type of work that we get to do tomorrow. And I know not all of us want to be actors, but this can apply to honestly every kind of job, everything in life. If you have an opportunity, if you do well in that opportunity, you're probably going to get another one. Another door is going to open for you. So just making sure that you are doing your best with whatever you're being given. It doesn't have to be paid. It doesn't have to be something that you can get a lot of recognition for. But working as a team with other people, that's going to open up doors later on in life. And then I threw in character development. This kind of goes hand in hand with the script analysis, which is part of the tools and techniques. But character development is how the actor explores the background, mind, and behaviors of their character. So every actor has to do their own character development. Very often it is up to the actor to create their inner dialogue, their subtext, any backstory for their character. So this is like the actor's homework is what we call it. It's not seen or heard in the film, but the more detailed that an actor is in their character development, the more realistic that their character becomes. So for an example, I would say in the film we just watched, American Fiction, and I don't know the character's name, so I'm sorry. But we have the main character was dating the girlfriend, but the girlfriend had a husband or a boyfriend. And he didn't have that too many lines, but that as his character, he still had to do his actor's homework. He still had to add his subtext and his inner dialogue and his backstory, just for those 2-3 lines when he was walking in the door, for it to still be a complete moment. It didn't feel like he was out of place. It didn't feel like, as an audience that we didn't know who that character was. So it doesn't even matter how long you're on the screen for or how many lines that you have, it's still super important to have your character development. And this is actually what sets apart like some actors versus others, especially in auditions, because if you do your actor's homework, it will show in a complete character rather than just simply saying the lines and following the directions of the director. And then lastly, we have versatility and vulnerability. So I know even when we just shared like our favorite actors, a lot of what can draw you to an actor or to an actor's performance is their ability to be versatile and vulnerable. So for versatility, that's an actor's ability to adapt, making changes quickly and improvising when necessary. 9 times out of 10, the director will change their mind while you're on set, and it is the actor's job to deliver. I know a lot of times something can be on the script. You can have memorized that line. And a director might say between takes, like, hey, can you say it like this? Or we're just going to scrap that and I want you to just improvise. That actor has to be able to think on the fly. And versatility is also useful for actors to book multiple types of roles. Book basically just means to get the job. And another example I can use is like Everybody Hates Chris. As an actor, he did so well in his role throughout that TV series, but casting was unable to like see him in other roles for a very long time. So it didn't mean that he wasn't talented or wasn't able to, do well in auditions, but sometimes you get typecast in the industry and it's hard for like people on the other side of the table to see your versatility, until we have Abbott Elementary, and he was able to showcase his talent and his versatility, to not just be one type of actor or playing one type of role all the time. Next, we have vulnerability. So emotional exploration breeds vulnerability. And Ms. Tamaya talked about this of how, watching actors and acting can also help you in your real life. Actors are able to connect with their character on a deeper level, the deeper that they can go within themselves. Finding similarities between the two as far as like the person and the character, and being able to evoke emotion from their audience. I know for me, one of my major goals is, well, as an actor, or while I'm playing a role, is to have the audience feel something. And a lot of times acting is simply reacting. So being present in whatever the scene is, whatever the director has set up, but also making sure, okay, is the audience or is the viewer going to see and feel something from my performance? And then finally, I have a quote here that says, by confronting and expressing their own vulnerabilities, actors develop the ability to handle a spectrum of feelings, both in their roles and in real life. And that's just a quote from the Vancouver Academy of Dramatic Arts. All right, y'all already know who I am, but I just added some photos here of some of the work that I've done. And I can go kind of in a little order. Y'all can see the blue here, so I'll just circle this. So I just recently came off of Disney Cruise Line. I was working in Australia. It was the inaugural cruise to Australia, so it was a lot of learning as far as like working with the audience that we're actually performing for. But I was friends with Black Panther Shuri. I was also friends with Princess Tiana, which we have over here. That's more stage. So really my start into acting was musical theater. I went to the University of Florida for undergrad, just recently graduated, and that's where I had most of my training for acting, singing, and dancing. So even over here, we have Cabaret, which is one of my favorite stage roles. And you can see in this role as Fraulein Schneider, I had to apply those vocal and physical techniques, specifically because I had to learn a German accent. I had to play an old lady in my 20s. And although it's really difficult for that to be believable, but I had to do like my actor's homework and the research of learning the German dialect, of figuring out, okay, what does an Afro-German look like in this setting? And doing the actor's homework to make it believable and for the audience to be able to suspend their belief. Over here, it's just a little clip of, or a screenshot from a commercial that I did, Tin Can. Commercials are a lot different from like auditioning for TV and film. Like how we talked about like being vulnerable and versatile as well as like grounded in the work. It's a little bit different for commercials because commercials are trying to sell you something. So when you're auditioning, you have to be a little bit more heightened and less believable. It's more canny. So that was something that I had to learn on the fly and just be versatile with when it comes to commercials. Here we have a little behind the scenes of I Do Maybe, which is a Shayla's film, which she's going to talk to y'all about that during her guest speaker session. But I'm really excited about that. And that was something that I had to do a lot of actors' homework with as well. And then over here, we have a clip from Artifice. I'm with Connor Noon. We had Jamie Brewstein and Tioi Roberts. I played Mia, which y'all are about to see in a second. But Artifice is like it's a fun, quirky film. It's a comedic action type. And Mia is basically the heart of the team. And being the heart of the team, she's not on camera way too much, but even like how we talked about, you don't have to be on camera to still, have a connection to your character. You can still do the work and then have it add to a believable performance. And down here, I just have my email in case y'all wanted to reach out to me. Y'all have my number, I think. But just to stay connected. Yeah, that's that. And then I think we're ready to watch Artifice if you want to jump into Maya.
Yeah. So before we watch the film, thank you, Taylor, for that, Miss Taylor, for that amazing overview of
Woo-hoo, go Taylor.
Thank you so much. Such an accomplished actor. We love it. We love to see it. So thank you for sharing what you know with these students. And again, you guys have Ms. Taylor's email, so please use it. She's a resource. Use it. Before we watch this film, I want you guys to think about what Ms. Taylor told you. I know it's like very quick, but just a quick little recap. Maybe think about in regards to like character development. Think about how maybe the characters evolve throughout the film, their arc. Think about maybe what you think they possibly thought their backstory was, because notice when we do watch films, we don't get to always know their story. We just, see a small glimpse. So think about that. Think about how well they work with their scene partners. If it convinces you, what you liked about it, what stood out about it. Think about maybe the vulnerability of it, the emotional depth that the character may have. See if it was effective for you to be convinced. What's another thing you guys can probably think about? Oh yeah, think about maybe like a personal connection. So like if there's any moment that you think, any defining moment in the film that kind of enhance the character and their story. But yeah, I think that's it. But if you guys think about any other things, like that's fine. I just want to give you like something to think about. But you need to be thinking while you're watching. But I think they got it.
All right. That was Artifice, y'all. I guess we can move into just the Q&A portion if y'all have questions about it, or at least the answers to Maya's questions as well.
Yes. Yeah, let's jump into that. And then after we do like a discussion for that, you guys can ask some personal questions for Miss Taylor. I know I told you guys to think of some, so I hope you guys have those. But as of now, I did drop some questions in the chat. You don't have to answer all, just pull one or just think of something else that you may have observed throughout the film. I can start off just to help out. So I feel like for the last one, were there any characters who showed significant range in emotions or actions? I will say, you know how there were like the two kind of cops, dirty cops a little bit in the car that were like watching and listening. I will say the one that was in the passenger, I noticed with him, like in the beginning of the film, he started off like very like laughing, ha ha ha, like we're gonna get them. He was just so confident, like they going down, like we got them. And then after a while, it was like, oh wait, this not gonna work. Like this plan, you sure we should do this? Like he became a little insecure with the plan a little bit. So yeah, it went from confidence to insecurity. That was when I pointed out. I don't know if this is relevant to the questions, but I will say one of the characters that stood out to me was the character who he was kind of clearly like the leader of the group. He was like in the all black. He kind of like made the decisions a little bit. He was like hiding in the cut. So that kind of gravitated me towards him. And I was definitely like, okay, what he got to say, But that's all I have. If you guys have anything else you pulled from the film, please don't all say it at once.
Just to add on to your to pointing out about that main like leader guy, I also think the camera angles really like supported that, because a lot of times he had really like he commanded the space, like he was like in the center, or it wasn't like off center or like showing them doing an action or something. It was, or I noticed with a lot of the other characters, it was a wider shot. With him, it was usually closer. Like he was like the director, whoever they were, really wanted you to hear what he was going to say, or like wanted to establish that like this like the power balance between all the different characters and stuff.
Yeah, that's good. That's great, Shaylin. And like even too, like Kai, I know you said something earlier, like when you usually watch the films, you don't really focus on the actors. But even if you didn't, like I loved how Shaylin just also like she kind of supported what the actor was saying with the camera angle. So if you have something like that that you picked up on or observed, you can.
I think for the first question, I think a lot of the time writers, or like when actors get a script that is written, there's a lot of like they can evolve it a lot when it's actually in their hands and you're filming and stuff, and they can help change a character a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Ava, what'd you like? What'd you like about the film? What'd you like about the actors? Is there any actor you didn't like? Is there any performance that was like not convincing? It is convincing.
I like the film because I feel like I like heist movies, and I feel like it was like very actiony, I guess.
Okay. Nadia.
Got anything to add on that?
Okay, so when I first read the title of the movie, I didn't the title of the film, I didn't know what it meant. I was a little confused because I didn't hear all that much, but it looked kind of country, and it's not like what Ava said. It looked like a heist, but it looked like they're somewhere out in the country, and I like Western movies, so it looked a little similar, like in that range.
Okay, well, Gainesville is a little country, so that's probably why. Okay. So also too, Miss Taylor, can you tell them about like the title of the film too? I know that's like not about acting, but can you just say that too?
No, we could do this together. Artifice. I also hadn't known the word before doing the film. It's clever or cunning devices or expedients, usually used as a trick or to deceive others. So clearly throughout the film, you're thinking like, okay, we're doing a heist. You're thinking, okay, maybe Connor's character, who he was the main character, is like, maybe he really is a rat. And even up until the point where, you know, you think his character is made, you're thinking, oh my goodness, like the police they're gonna catch them, they're coming in, something's about to happen. But the entire time it was a ploy. We were deceiving the cops because we were already one step ahead of them. And yeah, we sent them to the wrong location. I guess the character that we were that we lost, because like you saw the two men in like the costumes, they were running away. Connor's character got away, but of course he was put up to have a wire on. So we were saving our friend, getting the money back that they took from us that we already stole. And yeah, it was a cute like short film about a fake heist, but deceiving the cops. So that's basically the meaning of the word, and then like probably why it was used as the title. But Chris Hall was the director of this film.
Yeah. And I think the audience got that. And I will say short films are really hard because you have to like say a story within 10 minutes. And I think they did a great job with just getting to the plot and bringing it home. Anybody else? Because I want to leave a little bit of time for you guys to ask Ms. Taylor any other questions. I know we have some aspiring actors. But yeah, any other questions or things you picked up on the film that you want to say?
I had a question. So it seemed like y'all had great chemistry. All of y'all like worked together before. Was this something that y'all, I know that it was done in school. Was this something that was assigned so you knew the students, or did y'all all just come together from a posting of one of the students who wrote the film? Like, how did
Yeah.
that work?
So a lot of actually 3 out of the 4 of the actors that were in the like original group around the table, we're all musical theater majors. So and then T. Roy, he was in the MFA program for acting. But yeah, NCF, the collaborative films, they put a posting out, and we didn't know that we were all auditioning for it. So it was literally like day one on set, and we ended up all together, and it was like, oh my gosh, my friends are here. That's the fun part about like going to school for this. You get to like work with your friends, and I guess like that was kind of like the chemistry there, especially because we're all in the film. But I have found like some difficulty when it's like, okay, we're all friends, but maybe our roles are supposed to be romantic partners, or our roles are supposed to despise each other. So this kind of came a little bit, I guess, easier because we all were already a tight-knit group. And you don't always have the luxury of knowing like our scene partners.
Who you're working with.
Yeah. So
you did a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I think we
I have
should
a
transition.
question.
Oh, yeah,
I have a
go
question for you.
ahead.
What was your favorite part of making the whole movie? Was it like the rehearsals for it? Was it actually shooting it? The shooting days? Was it afterwards seeing everything come together, or what was it for you?
That's a good question. I would say it's tied between seeing it all come together because we had like a premiere party, and we got to not only watch Artifice, but the other films that the College of Journalism had been working on. Between that and then also like being on set. My favorite parts were like when I wasn't on camera, because I was able to also
Just sit there and kind of watch. Yeah.
Yeah, and like watch it happen. Also like support my friends while they were like doing their stuff. A lot of the times, like everyone will be called at the same time, or they'll be called if they're like if they assume that they'll be needed. Even like when like Jamie and Connor, even T. Roy were doing their scenes, I would still be present because I knew like I would be needed next. So like yeah, between that, like watching my friends just do their thing and seeing it all come together, I think were my favorite parts.
That's so exciting. And I'm my brain is like in two places because I'm at work too. And I was watching that. I was like, oh my God, that looks like I was like, wait, it is. Like I totally forgot literally what was going on. That was funny. Yeah, that was awesome.
Thank you.
I had a question. Well, Denisha had a question, but she lost her voice, so I'm gonna ask it for her. But she wanted to know when it comes to like you were saying with the romantic stuff, when you're friends with the people you're acting with, how is that? Like, is there a level of awkwardness? Do you have to have like a talk with whoever it is before? Like, and it may depend on what scene you all are doing too.
Yeah, I do think it depends. I think being comfortable with the person, like even if you are friends, I think that's a great foundation to start. Especially because a lot of, I guess, romantic scenes, there's always a friendship at the base between the two people that have been written. I recently worked on a Shayla's film, and having an intimacy coordinator helps a ton, because it takes away like, oh my gosh, this is Taylor and this other person doing it. And it's more like these are these two characters, we're telling the story, we're following this choreography. So although like the awkwardness is still there because like, yes, it's me as a person doing it and doing this choreography, the awkwardness can be taken away because it's like we're doing our job, we're telling the story, and again the goal is to get the audience to have an emotion, to feel something, and to believe these characters. So I think just remembering like the why of why this was written and why we're doing this, it makes the process a little bit easier.
I will say that was just shocking to hear because I didn't know there was a coordinator for that. A romance coordinator. I feel like that's why I love film too, because I feel like there's so many aspects of film that you can do if you're not on screen. It's so many jobs and roles to do behind the camera too. Like that's crazy. Wow.
I heard Gail Bean talk about an intimacy coordinator. I saw her in an interview one time, and if any of you have watched Snowfall, she was with Leon. So the interviewers were asking her like, so y'all are like really good friends outside of the movie. Like, how do y'all cut that on and off? And she talked about how the intimacy coordinator helps them kind of, for the moment, break down that wall of friendship and turn on, actor mode. So,
Right.
Yeah. And Taylor, I know you can speak on it, but also too, Mrs. Shayla, she'll definitely talk about that with you guys. Because when you think about intimacy, you think about a lot of things, but it could just be as simple as somebody giving each other a hug. And how do you navigate that? But yeah, Mrs. Shayla worked directly with some intimacy coordinators to get the vision together, especially even with Miss Taylor. They just got done filming the film I Do, maybe. And yeah, Taylor, I don't know if you want to talk about that or, we'll save it.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone has like even like personal questions about the acting business while we still have time, it doesn't have to be about Artifice, but it can be about, I'm an open book. And if you have questions later, also like shoot me an email.
Well, I'll ask the question because I'm still growing in the acting world. And I will say this, do you recommend students going to college for acting? What do you recommend to if I wanted to pursue a career?
These are great questions. I feel like it's up to that person. I feel like it doesn't hurt to go to either school for it or just to take classes, always taking classes and workshops, because with any craft, you need to stay at the top of your game. But as far as like learning, like we did a little bit of the basics here, and that's from like what I've learned in the 4 years, just like this, like scratching the surface of it. But the beautiful thing about acting is you don't have to go to school for it. Some people do have like a natural talent, they have a knack, and even through what you can find on like YouTube and like there's like an Actors on Actors podcast that you can also listen to. Like there are different ways that you can learn the craft, even just by and I know even like Apollo Fresh talked about like being a PA on set. Like you can learn by being around the people who are doing the thing. You don't have to go to school for it. I know for me, school was completely helpful, especially at UF, because my professors ended up being like my mentors, and they're people who are like, they're deeply connected into the industry. So I have, let me think, like one of my professors, like he's been on Broadway for over 10 years in like Aladdin and Anything Goes. I have another one who's my acting teacher, and he's been an off-Broadway in like a Pulitzer Prize winning production. The person that I had to audition for Artifice, Iman Zawari, she actually is an Emmy Award winner. So like everyone that I've worked with and met through UF, they're people that, yes, I had to turn in assignments for, yes, I had to do readings for, yes, I had to work within a classroom environment, but there's still people that I can be connected with today. And like, even right now, as I'm auditioning, I can still reach out to them. They can still help me. Or if I go to a different city, everyone has connections. And like, that's the part about work begets work. I just went to school for 4 years, but I still have now a network of people within the acting program. So I think that's like an invaluable thing that you can gain from going to school for this.
Yeah. It's definitely something to think about, because when you work with people even outside of school, a lot of times you're going to continue working with them. You want to make sure you're being kind on set too, being a good person. I know we didn't get into that, but me and Taylor were talking about that. We were talking about that yesterday, about how you never know. You want to be nice to people in general, but like you never know, the opportunity that could come out of that. So just be a great person and just be easy to work with, because in the industry is not a game, and you'll meet some people. So yeah. Yeah, I got it. Any other questions? I feel like this is really good. I know we're a little bit over today, but I think y'all will be okay. Any other questions? Shaylin, because I know you said you want to be an actress too. So make sure, even too, like when you're in school, make sure you take like some electives for this.
Yeah, I'm actually planning on double majoring, both like graphic design and theater. That's kind of the plan. I'm officially declared as a graphic design major until I get enough credits to declare both theater and graphic design. yeah, I like like theater has been like a really big part of my life the past couple of years, so like it's definitely something I'm interested in. I think the biggest thing I'm interested about, like I was probably gonna message you privately because this is like I know we're time restraints and stuff, but like I really want to know about like audition processes and like uh I just attended a seminar about like getting on a casting director's list and stuff like that, because like just making those connections, and that's why I'm really excited to be at UF, because I know they have those Broadway connections, they have those film connections, and like but I think the biggest thing is kind of like I wanted to ask you about like your character development and stuff, like and it was Artifice, I think it was. Like how it's different from doing it for like a short film to like any longer stuff that you've done, like a production, or differences in character. I think that was kind of like just that process, because I've done my own things, but it would be interesting to see it from another actor's perspective.
Yeah. I would say, I think, and even Miss Tamaya touched on it a little bit. Like short films are a little like I find that they're more difficult because you're working with less information that's given to you. So the actor has to be a little bit more creative of like, okay, so what's the character? What's going on? Because me didn't even have that many lines or like screen time, but I knew, okay, especially from even like the audition, like the breakdown of the character, I'm like, okay, so she has to be the heart of the team. And what I had implied, or like my actor's homework, was more so like, okay, maybe she's like a nervous Nelly. Maybe this is not her scene. She needs to be behind the scenes. She's more into the tech. She's more with shutting off the lights and doing the stuff behind it. But now that we're one person down, she has to step up and be part of the heist. Maybe she's not comfortable taking out the money and being behind with all of the firearms and what's going on, but she wants the team to stick together. And so she has to just do what she has to do in order to have this artifice, this ploy, be successful. So that's kind of like the route I took it. But yeah, at least for me, there's as if is like one of the main tools that I use. And I don't know if we have too much time to like get into it, but I wouldn't mind also like just talking to you, Shaylin, as well. But if like me, Taylor has never been part of a heist. I've never robbed a bank. I don't know what's going on when it comes to that, but I can say like, okay, what is it? What's as if? What is it like? What it could be? What in this script is similar to something that I've experienced in my life? So that can be like, okay, have I ever tried to like plan a surprise birthday party? Like, have I ever tried to do something behind someone's back in order for something to be successful? And it doesn't have to like necessarily be bad or even like align perfectly with what the character is doing. But I have had an experience where it's like, okay, I have to be sneaky. I have to make sure that these texts don't get seen by this person in order for them to actually be surprised at the end of the day. So again, finding those similarities, and that's like vulnerability as well. Being real with yourself as a person and seeing like, okay, well, where am I alike with this character that I've been cast in, and where can I find the similarities in order to make sure that the performance is still believable, even though I've never been in that situation personally.
All right. I think just with the sake of time, we're 10 minutes over. We're probably gonna wrap it up. I just want to say thank you again, Ms. Taylor, for having an awesome presentation for us. I learned so much as well. I know the kids definitely learned a lot. We'll make sure to have this video up on YouTube so you guys can go back and look at it, just in case you guys didn't get to write the notes out all the way. Also, Ms. L'Oreal, thank you for leading the book discussion. Next week on Tuesday, I want you guys to read page 31 to page 103. We're going to challenge you a little bit further throughout the week. Maybe you guys can read like 15 pages a night, but it's a really great book. Once you start it, you probably won't be able to put it down. Make sure you highlight to help you guys get through it. I'm going to send you an email so you guys can have access to the video, and so you know what pages you are reading again. Also, make sure you guys connect with your mentors. I did share your contact with them, so they will be reaching out to you if they haven't already. But I think that's it for today. I just want to say thank you guys for being on and being engaged. And this is exciting. This is exciting. You guys are doing such a great job. So thank you all. If y'all have any questions, make sure y'all email me, okay, or text me. All right. All the students, y'all can log off, okay? Thank y'all. Tell Miss Taylor thank you, and Miss L'Oreal,
Thank you.
all the
Thank
amazing
you.
other
Thank
volunteers.
Thank y'all.
Have a good night.
You too.